Unfortunately, the default decks here in Paragon for our heroes aren't the greatest. And when you guys reach level 5, or if you are just any person here playing Paragon that wants a better option for those default decks for these heroes, I have come up with a slew of default beginner decks that are absolutely fantastic. So if you have ever wanted a easy deck that you can build as soon as you are level 5 from the default decks that you get when you make a new account in Paragon, this is the video for you. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Paragon guide. I am Sylphin. This is the beginner caster deck that I have made for casters. Now, which heroes can use this deck and what are their roles? Well, basically it's all of the mid laners here. The Lieutenant Belica, Howitzer, Gideon, Gadget, and Countess. These are the heroes that can use this beginner caster deck along with a few others. The Fae can definitely use this as pretty much her primary deck, as she's not often the support, even although she can. Offlaners Iggy and Scorch can definitely use this, and interestingly enough, Crunch is basically a melee caster, and he can definitely use this deck. He's very interesting either way that you want to build him. I actually have built him as a caster before, and actually works pretty damn well. Really, other than that, Sevrog, if you really wanted to, he could, but that's pretty strange. Everybody else, Kwang, you definitely can build him as a caster with ability pan and a lot of power. So Kwang, he would definitely work as well. And then there's some others here. Muriel could definitely use this deck. Offlane Muriel is becoming a thing with a little bit more damage, so Muriel definitely could use this. Richter, you could maybe use this for him if you're going for a damage Richter or a damage Steel even. Damage Narbash really isn't a thing, unfortunately, just because he's so dang squishy. Decker, she can definitely use some power, but I would go damage Muriel, Richter, or even Steel before going for Decker. So there are the heroes, guys, that I think could use this deck. Some of them are and some of them are very much a yes. Countess, Gadget, Gideon, Howitzer, Belica, the Fae, Iggy, and Scorch definitely could certainly use it. Crunch, Kwang, Muriel, Richter, and Steel, definitely, they could, but Richter and Steel, you just want to be tanky, so not really. Decker, she could, but there you guys go. Oh, of course, Aurora, actually, pardon me, Aurora definitely could as well. If you are building her as a burst sort of caster that has very strong ultimates and stuff like that, you could use this for Aurora, although that is falling to the wayside, as people, as I've been saying since she came out, has an amazing capability when played properly to stick to a target and use her basic attacks, which are actually really strong, to great effect. So Aurora, you can use her, you can use this build for her, but it has been falling to the wayside. And of course, Shinbi. Shinbi definitely can use this. Can definitely use this build, as she's a burst melee caster. That's basically what she is. No, not really bursty, sorry, she's just a melee caster, assassin, so she can definitely use this build for sure. Here is the build, ladies and gentlemen. Find the build order in the video description below. Maybe minimize this video and follow along here. You'll notice that there are some options, and that is a good thing, because this is a universal build for a lot of heroes. You have to keep it very much open-ended for some options, even though there is some very great build path for this video. So when you want to build this, simply just take a look at this video, pause it at this moment, and just go into your deck builder and just make sure that you have all of these cards with these upgrades as you see them now, and that'll just be the easiest way to make it. I can't upload it to Agora.gg or the Epic Games deck builder simply because I'd need to make one for each hero, and I simply don't have that time. So pause this video right here, take a look at these, make sure that your deck has all of these when you go and make it, and that'll just make it really nice and easy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you start off with a couple of options. We have the Circlet of Health here for your lane. If you are a laner, if you're in the mid lane, if you're a support, or in the off lane, you can use the Circlet of Health. What this does is it gives you 2.8 health regen to yourself and nearby allies, and which is great for the support if you are there and you're building a more damage support, but it keeps you alive. Super, super meta. You know, later on, you'll switch this out for a healer token, and then you'll be able to get a health potion or a cast token. So that's a little bit more effective, but this is what we have when we start our accounts. So perfect, absolutely amazing, very, very meta. This will be very powerful for you and your allies. If you're in the jungle, if you're doing a crunch, maybe a Countess in the jungle, something like that. If you find yourself in the jungle, you have two options. Brawler's Scythe for somebody that has a sustain. If they can gain health back through their skills and abilities, grab the Scythe. But if they can't gain health back from their skills and abilities, get the Mage's Siphon. No upgrades, simply because you get 3 CP of value, so really there's no point in upgrading it. You want to get into other juicy stuff as well. So there you go. There's your, if you're in the lane, then get your Circlet of Health. If you're in the jungle, you either get the Siphon or the Scythe, depending on your hero. After this, we go into something fairly interesting, the Lord's Ward. This gives you 4 CP of value for 3 CP, so it's actually really quite efficient. What it gives, you get a little bit of health, which is very important, a little bit of mana, which is very important, a little bit of mana regen, which is actually the real reason why we want this, plus of course those wards. If you are in the support lane, if you're a support, you definitely need them. If you're in the mid lane, you definitely need them. And if you're in the off lane, well, you could definitely use this mana regen. You know, maybe stay until you have 4 CP out there, so you can come back, grab this Lord's Ward and a mana potion. If you're in the mid lane, this will be more than enough for your mana regen. If you're in the off lane, you just got to play safe anyways. And if you're in the safe lane, well, you're probably not using them and many abilities anyways. So get that, the Lord's Ward, and maybe the mana potion as well, I would definitely recommend. We want a lot of value here in the early game, and that's what this gives us. After this Lord's Ward, you don't upgrade these. You don't upgrade these. Save it for later because there's no upgrade bonus. Don't upgrade this Lord's Ward. Go immediately into a Wellspring Staff. This is one of my favorite cards, as it gives you mana, which is good, but more importantly, that mana regen once it's fully upgraded. Get this Wellspring Staff, upgrade it fully, or get it, upgrade a strike, and then come back and upgrade your upgrade this 2-point chrono. That's a little bit advanced, but that mana regen in the early game is so good. It is so good. So please consider upgrading this 2-point chrono or this 3-point advanced chrono. But really, you should be wanting your Wellspring Staff as much as possible. A lot of damage, which works really, really well. After this Wellspring Staff, you have an option for a Blink Charm. This Blink Charm is something that you use every 180 seconds to teleport forward a fair distance. It really, really helps for escaping bad situations. This is so important on Belica. A Gadget can certainly use it. All of these heroes can definitely use a Blink Charm, but definitely a Belica, definitely a Countess, and any hero that doesn't have a good escape. Gideon, you can probably get away without it. He has a really easy teleport to use, but everybody else, you know, Howitzer, he can get away from a lot of stuff. A lot of other heroes, though, can definitely use this Blink Charm. Please consider using this Blink Charm because it is so important for a lot of people. It can save your butt and save you from falling behind a lot of the time. So please consider this Blink Charm after you get that Wellspring Staff, and maybe a mana regen upgrade or 2 in your Lord's Ward. After this, we need some damage and health. We have the mana regen, we got some power on the Eldermage Amulet, we got some mana, so now we just need some damage and some health. this Adamant Edge here is perfect for this. We get 3-point cast, 2 health, and a 2 strike upgrades for a lot of power here, and a little bit of health. Casters, they're a little bit bursty, but because all of their abilities happen at once, then you gotta wait. They kind of need some sustain to, you know, survive a few rotations or two of their abilities. So this health is very good. Plus, as a beginner or just as an easy deck for you to use if you're more advanced, it's consistent. Health will save your butt. I mean, why wouldn't you want that, right? Playing it smart, you can use that damage and that health to great effect. So there you guys go. After this Adamant Edge, you go into a Chrono-Mancer Disc. You should have upgraded the mana regen of this on this Lord's Ward by now. So we get this Chrono-Mancer Disc, where you have a good amount of damage now. And what we want is to use our abilities more often. That's what this 10% cooldown reduction does. It decreases the cooldowns of our ability so we can use our abilities faster, more often, so that we can do more damage. Great poke ability with a lot of heroes, or some other heroes with very high ultimate cooldowns that can be reduced by a good chunk. Chrono-Mancer Disc for some more power, which is definitely what we need. As you know what, we have sunk quite a bit of power here, quite a bit of CP into the Lord's Ward with some with some utility in the mana and mana regen. Plus, the Wellspring Staff does have 3 CP of stuff on it, so that's good. After this Chrono-Mancer Disc, we actually get Hand of the Prophets. This is very, very interesting, as the Hand of the Prophets gives us ability pen, which we definitely need. We absolutely 100% need this Hand of Prophets, and this is the only ability pen universal card that we start off with in when you just make your account, your brand new fresh account here on Paragon. Hand of the Prophets, absolutely a must, and at this point you'll have 130, 140 power about there, and this ability pen absolutely is worth it. Absolutely worth it at this point, so this is great. It's a 10 CP cost, so it will be tougher to get. Like, you'll have to just sit there and wait for this 10 CP to get there. So as you do that, you have some options. You can get this Amulet of the Veteran for a whole bunch of health as you are waiting for that 10 CP, because then you can discard this. You can discard this Amulet of the Veteran and then exchange it for this Hand of Prophets. Or you go into the Eldermage Amulet, although this Eldermage Amulet this Eldermage Amulet, yes. So you can get this Eldermage Amulet if you want. Oh, my apologies. I'm sorry. I'm looking at my notes wrong here. This Adamant Edge and this Eldermage Amulet is are 2 options. If you want less health and more damage, go for this Adamant Edge. Or if you want more health and less power, go for this Eldermage Amulet. Say maybe you're a Belica, she can definitely use that more health. If you're Fae, maybe a damaged Fae as a pseudo support, you definitely want more of this damage, or more of this health, pardon me. So you can have some options. It's not that big of a difference in the health department, but it is 100, and you know what, that is a fair amount. So you have that options there: Adamant Edge or this Eldermage Amulet, then the Chrono-Mancer Disc, then Hand of the Prophets, and then you finish off your build with Staff of the Adamant for a ton of power, which is just skyrockets your damage, or Amulet of the Veteran for a whole bunch of health. Again, you have 2 healthy options and 2 damage options. Adamant Edge and your Staff of the Adamant is your more damage options. Your Amulet of the Veteran and Eldermage Amulet are your health options. You can get one of the health options, or you can get both of the health options if you are trying to be a damage support, maybe like a Fae or the Belica perhaps. You can get out both Eldermage Amulet and the Amulet of the Veteran. Or if you just want a little bit more health, you can get one of them plus the Staff of Adamant or the Adamant Edge. It's up to you. Those are the 2 flex cards. The Amulet of Veteran and Eldermage Amulet can replace your Adamant Edge or your Staff of Adamant. That is the build, guys. Hopefully that makes sense. And you know what? All of this you guys get as soon as you make your accounts. As soon as you level your account to level 5, you will unlock deck building, and you guys can make this for yourself for each hero that you want to play or you want to main. You'll have to make this every time for a new hero, which I know is unfortunately quite tedious, but I mean, it's solid. This is absolutely solid. I'm super impressed by how functional this is, and you know what? I'm really tempted to use this a lot of the time just because it's so easy. Just because it's so easy. Like, yes, I mean, a more tailored build is more effective, but not by much. Not by much. Again, we'll go over this very quickly. Circlet of Health if you're in lane, Sides or Siphon if you're in the jungle. Follow that by Lord's Ward. Don't upgrade it. Go into your Wellspring Staff. As you're upgrading your Wellspring Staff, you can choose to get a 2-point Chrono or the 3-point Chrono, but don't recommend the 3-point Chrono just yet. After this Wellspring Staff, you have the option of the Blink Charm. Definitely recommend it for people like Belica, maybe even Gadget, somebody like Countess. They can definitely use a Blink Charm. Anybody that doesn't have a solid escape. After this Blink Charm, you go into the Adamant Edge or your Eldermage Amulet, depending on what. I mean, these 4 cards here, Wellspring Staff, Eldermage Amulet, Amulet of Veteran, and Adamant Edge, they're all interchangeable. Really choose what you need at that point. After this Adamant Edge or Eldermage Amulet, go into the Chrono-Mancer Disc. Absolutely a must. And then you go into the Hand of Prophets for a whole bunch of damage. Ability Pen, which is just going to skyrocket the power that you do have. After this Hand of Prophets, again, Staff of the Adamant for a whole bunch of power if you're going really, really power heavy. Or Amulet of Veteran for a ton of health. There you guys go. Let me know down in the comments if this makes sense. Oh, and of course, your prime card is the Archmagus, as it gives damage to structures, which hopefully you are sieging when you have the prime card activated. So just a little bit more focused on the siege objectives. There you guys go. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this. Hopefully you guys find it successful. I found it successful in the game that I played, and it wasn't a exceptional game either way. So it's definitely solid, definitely way better than a default deck, way better than a default deck. And you know what, guys? It's going to be absolutely fantastic for all of those heroes that I mentioned at the beginning. Please like this video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share it with the community, please, because these sorts of beginner guides and decks are very much needed in order to help our community progress, to become better, and just to have more fun with this game. So please do that, and of course, guys, subscribe if you guys like this content, find it useful, especially. Please subscribe so I can do it for you in the future. Till next time, like always, stay optimistic and positive.